fans of Let's Talk Chicago Bears, which I'm pretty sure none of you really want to do today, right? Okay. What the fuck is wrong with the Chicago Bears? Okay, I'm going to do it for you, which we all probably did it yesterday. 4 minutes left in the game. 4 frickin' minutes. We're up by 10 points. Now, every one of us thought, we're going to win this game. Even if they gave up one touchdown, I was like, we're still going to win. The defense is not going to let them score twice. What happened to the defense? They played the first half, they were just great. And then what happened? They weren't on the field that much yesterday because the offense, for once, showed up. Mitchell scored 30 points. I mean, not him, but he was a quarterback. We had a great running game. I believe we had 120 yards, 140 yards rushing. Mitchell had 249 yards passing. We're going to talk about the highlights first. And, I mean, come on. Roquan Smith, 58, our linebacker. I don't know how close you could pay attention to the games, but he was all over the field yesterday. I mean, there was a couple players that 98 Nichols, Roquan, who was 58, JJ, 33, really stood out to me yesterday. Fuller did not have a good game. I like Fuller. I think he's a great cornerback, but he sucked yesterday. I mean, we were lucky that several of those throws by Matthew Stafford were either over his head or not catchable because Fuller was not there. And there was a couple where I thought Fuller could have intercepted him. He didn't look to me like he was really playing his 100%. But I saw Roquan, 58, Nichols, 98, and JJ. They were all doing. JJ had a great one. But we had 2 sacks in the game, one by Nichols, 98, and then 50, and I forgot to write down his name. I tried, I think Mango, I think is his name. And we had the interception by 98 Nichols. He got that interception. And we kept our penalties down to 3. I swear to God, the Bears somebody must have been watching the show weeks ago because remember, I bitched about that more than anything. And they have really come down. So that part, the discipline is good. Our defense, again, played really good the first half. And even into the third quarter, and then all of a sudden, what was that drive where they were down on the 10-yard line, great punt. I think it was a 5-yard line. And they went all the way down on like 5 plays, touchdown. I'm like, what the hell was that? I'm sorry. And I know Mitchell fumbled the ball. Yes, that was the only bad thing he did yesterday, but that was not all on him. It was a group effort. It was on the line, and really, that was the only time. There was a few times the line seemed to be not great, but they really improved from last week, from the week before to this week, because we got 140 yards rushing, and they were giving him time most of the game to throw. But on that Detroit, which we should have done to Matthew Stafford before, is they just came at him like crazy. So between the defense, which was really good, that defensive player really rocked it to got that ball out. The offensive line breaking down. Mitchell, not hanging on to it too great. And then the coaches, the play calling. I didn't understand that. We had 140 yards rushing. Well, not 140 at that point, but you know what I mean. Between Montgomery and Patterson. Patterson, that guy, if there's an MVP on the Bears this season, I think it should go to Patterson between his run backs on his kickoffs. And then the last couple weeks, especially yesterday, remember, not a running back. He was running really good, and he was knocking guys over. Why the hell? The last 2 series the Bears had, were they not just running and then, run, even if you don't get the first down, although I was just about to say punt and let your defense stop them. We saw what happened. That didn't happen, did it? And I'm not talking about after Mitchell fumbled the ball on the 6-yard line. That was inevitable. But the drive before that allowed them to get that 7 points to get closer. That made them. They made that when they came out, and it was like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Um, the score was 27-30, and we were winning. Okay, and so I'm like, okay. I was pissed about it, but I'm like, okay, if we can get a couple first downs or whatever, I swear to God, because the play calling was so good until that series when we got the fumble down on the 10-yard line. I think Nagy was calling the plays again. You should not have been throwing back then. You should not have been passing the ball. Stupid. So if this game does not get them all fired, I don't know what it is. And I've changed my mind. I don't want Chuck Pagano as our coach. Hey, it's my show. I could change my mind. You know who I meant to say this the last time, who I would really love, but we can't get him because he just signed a new contract with a new team in the off season, is Ron Rivera. Remember when he was our defensive coordinator back in 2006? And our defense, that's the only reason we went to the Super Bowl that year, because our defense was so good. And then he got fired right after that Super Bowl loss. And the rumors were, and I believe it, is that Lovie Smith and Ron Rivera got at it at halftime. And Ron Rivera was telling them, we got to do this, this, and this, whatever it was. And I think he got in Lovie's face too much, and Lovie didn't like it. And Ron was right, because we lost that game. And they fired him. Stupid move. And you know what? Another stupid move. I was kind of happy when they fired Lovey, but not really. I mean, I don't know. I was torn. I thought when he fired Ron Rivera, I was really upset, because I thought to myself, he don't like to be talked back to. And I know he's the head coach, was the head coach. I'm kind of getting off subject here, but Ron Rivera, man, he was good in Carolina. It was sometimes after a while you're there a long time. People need to change. Now he's going to go fix Washington. The Bears sure could use him, man. And he was a Chicago Bear. And look what happened the last time when we had Mike Ditka, who was a Chicago Bear, and he was our coach. Look at the 80s, man. We rocked it after 83 and on, right? So I wish Ron Rivera, but that ain't gonna happen. But we got a clean house, because let's see my notes here. I don't get it. So we did do the highlights. The highlights are that our offense showed up, and that's why Mitchell should never have been benched back in week 3. Even if you wanted to bench him for that game to teach him a lesson, I'd have been cool with it. But Foles should not have been starting all those other games. I think we would have won at least 2 or 3 of those games if Mitchell was in. He can move. He can run the ball. I'm not a Foles fan, and everybody knows it, because he's the Statue of Liberty. And again, if he was so damn good, why was he on like 10,000 teams? Okay, so I don't know. It just pisses me off. They lost 34-30, and I don't know. I just think that, and the defense gave up 460 yards of offensive yards to Detroit. Although Matthew Stafford, I take him. We'll take him. He is not a bad quarterback. He's just been on bad teams. Again, I think that Detroit's jinx, because Barry Sanders quit when he was and he was a great running back. He was still in his prime when he quit, but he was like, you know what? He had a long-term contract with them. They weren't going to trade him, and he was like, I'm not going to beat my body up for a team that is not going to go anywhere. And he was right. And then Megatron, I can't think of his name, that receiver, he ended up retiring early too. He was an awesome receiver, but he knew that the ownership didn't care. You guys think that our ownership don't care? Look at Detroit, way worse. So there are some bright spots here. We're not in Detroit, okay? So just remember that, okay, guys? But I'm just kind of looking at my notes. I didn't write much, because I had to handwrite I always write notes during the game, and then I usually type up my notes for the show. But if you recall, on Friday, I had said that I had a cold. and I was fighting that. Well, I started feeling worse over the weekend. Today, I'm feeling a lot better. But yesterday, was flat on my back, watched football all day. I didn't even have my son over like I always do. My son and his fiance. We always watch the games together. But to be honest with you, I wasn't 100% sure if I didn't have that fucking virus or not. So I went today and I got tested. Yeah, I did. So people, don't be afraid to get tested. I don't know why people want to make that political, but they are. I got tested. Thank you God I was negative, and the doctor made me feel a lot better because I was like, I feel really silly even being here, wasting somebody's spot who probably needs it. But he's like, yeah, but the symptoms you gave us from last Thursday when you started getting sick, mask, COVID. The only thing was that I didn't have a fever. He said, but not everybody gets fevers. So I had a really good talk with this doctor. He made me feel a lot better because I told him I'm just on my last thread here. Being locked up all these months and only, seeing my son once a week, and then my friends at the grocery store, and that's it. So I got to see my family at Christmas. So the doctor encouraged me to go ahead and do it. Go see your family. Don't worry about it. Just be smart, and you're going to be fine. So I'm doing it. But so so I was writing the notes. So the point was that I don't even know what to say, but except for everybody's got to be fired. Pace has been there since I said for 5 years. His record now is like 39, and from a couple shows ago, I think it was 39 and 52 or 53. So now we know it's 39 and 55, and so that's not enough. If the Robbie Gould mistake, if the Mitchell mistake, if signing Glennon for $25 million wasn't a mistake, given over the hill defensive lineman Robert Quinn, $70 million. He's in his 30s. That wasn't a mistake. Trading Howard wasn't a mistake. I don't know what else. And then yesterday, that has to be it, because Pace, and this is something that my son had broke up. Everybody's saying, fire Ted Phillips, fire Ted Phillips. I don't honestly care one way or another if they fire him or not, but just to let you guys know, Ted Phillips has nothing to do with the actual Bears organization as far as anything that goes on with the players or the field or anything else. He got moved several years ago, which I didn't even know, but I recently read this and heard it on the radio, that he was moved into a different job. So he's not at all. So right now it's Pace and George McCaskey. And Pace has got to go. And I heard somebody say, I think it was Hub Irish on the phone. I love him. That's one guy I miss being here in Vegas. I don't hear him because he is so good. He said that yeah, Pace has got, he agrees they all got to go, but you got to get somebody that has football knowledge that can really run this team. We don't want to go out like they hired Ernie 5 years ago to help them find Pace, and that was supposed to be the new guru. Well, that didn't work out, and even though that Ernie guy's a great guy, Hub said, and he goes, he really is smart, and he goes, but the Bears really got to find somebody. They got to hire somebody that really just knows football inside and out. They say they want to win, but, I was reading online some of the comments people are saying, and I don't know. I love the Chicago Bears, and I always will. Have they broken my heart a fucking million times? Yeah, and they've probably done it the same to you, and now they're ripping my son's heart apart. And, when I see my son, it was me 30 years ago. I told you, somebody said, I used to work in a corporate, and he used to say, I hate it Mondays when the Bears lost because you were just a crabby old bitch. And he didn't say old bitch, but he said crabby bitch. And so it's true. I mean, there's not really much to say. There were so many positives in that game until the last 4 minutes. Although, whoops, got to go back a little bit. The only bad thing was, and of course this is shoulda, woulda, coulda, but that extra point that was missed in the first half when we scored a touchdown, had Santos made that kick, then at the end when Allen Robinson didn't have no fucking idea where the line to gain was and gets out of bound, a half an inch too short, and then we can't even get the first down. The Bears are the only team that I know that can't get a first down on a half a yard. They are. I watch college and they do it all the time, except for the Chicago Bears. But if Allen Robinson would have known where the line to gain was, and he should do that because he's smarter than that, he would have gone out of bounds. We still would have had a timeout. So you could have done one more play, one play to throw. I'd say one throw now to the end zone, and then you kick the field goal, tie the game. Because he wouldn't have missed. Well, he missed the extra point, but we were pretty close because we were down on the 19 or 20 yard line, and so that extra point was really huge. Sometimes you're like, so what? But they really are huge. And this year, they're saying that extra points are being missed like crazy. But then this is 2020, right? Oh my God, what's the date? The 7th? Please let this year be over. Oh my God, please. Anyways, so, and Allen Robinson. So really, even if we didn't, so if Allen Robinson would have gotten that first down, like I said, we would have had a first down. There was 12 seconds left, and we could have done another play because we had a timeout. Mitchell could have tried throwing, and then we would have thrown a couple times. So maybe we would have gotten a touchdown, but Robinson didn't know where the fuck he was. I don't know. You know what? I don't get this mad that often on this show, but today I think warrants it, and now I'm pretty sure that Pace and Nagy, probably Chuck, are going to be putting their houses for sale. And Mitch, we already know that. So, but I don't know. For next year, we're gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna bring that up now because we have other shows to fill. So I got some ideas on quarterbacks and stuff like that. So we're gonna talk about that later. But I'm trying to think of a funny story. Here's a funny story. This will probably make you guys laugh. I can't remember if I told this story or not, but I'm going to tell it again to end the show on a nice note. So back in 1985, the Bears Super Bowl year, and we were at a game with some friends, and we were sitting in the end zone. We had end zone seats, and we were in the second or third row, so we were right there. And that's when the new rule went into effect at Soldier Field. That number one, after the third quarter, they stopped selling beer on Monday nights. I think that became all the time, but after the third quarter, stopped selling beer, and you could only order 4 beers at a time. So there was 4 of us, my husband and I and 2 friends, and the Bears, we were watching. And so it was now time for my husband, because it was getting close, and we're like, whose turn is it? We all took turns to get beers at times, and he's like, it's my turn. So he goes, okay, I'll be back. So he goes up because it was almost the end of the third quarter. Not that we needed any more beers, because I think we had a few under the chair as it was, but we did it. So he goes up to get the beers, and what do you think happens? That was the first time the refrigerator Perry scored his first offensive touchdown. All of a sudden, we're sitting there, and everyone's like, "Oh my God!" Everyone's screaming. We're like, "What's he doing in the backfield?" They were like on the 2nd yard line, and we're like, "What's he doing in the backfield?" And they say, he's eligible, and he comes in, and he was right there. I mean, he's right there. We were in the second, third row, so he was right in front of us. And he scored his touchdown. And when he went to go and, spike the ball, if I was in the front row, I could have touched him. He was that close. He was looking right at us. It was so cool. The place went completely nuts. And I'm looking over I look at my, to do something with my husband. I realize, he's up getting beers. Oh, man. So he comes down. And, we're kicking off after we scored the extra point, and we were kicking off. And he's like, "What happened? Somebody scored something? What do you mean?" And he said, "I heard something." And we're like, "The refrigerator Perry scored a touchdown." He's like, "What?" And we're like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Damn it." So we were laughing about that. So then he put the beers under the chair where you would keep them when they're in that they give you like a thing carrying thing. The people behind us, it couldn't have been 2 minutes later. The idiot behind us kicked the beers over. Yep. So not only did my husband miss his first refrigerator's first touchdown on Monday Night Football right frickin' in front of us, the beers he went and got knocked over. Yeah, I was more pissed about the beers being knocked over. I'm like, damn it, I wanted another beer. And he's like, who cares about the beers? I missed the touchdown. So that'll make you laugh, okay? I hope. Because there ain't nothing to be laughing about. But we're going to keep doing the show. I'm going to keep doing the show. And I'm going to try to make you guys laugh. So the next show will be Friday, unless I decide to do one Wednesday, but you'll see. So, always keep an eye out for me because you never know when I'm going to pop up. We play Texas, Houston, Texas. Doesn't really matter at this point. There's 4 games left, right? We're 5-7. You have 4 games left. So really, now we're looking for draft picks. So because there's some quarterbacks, we're not going to get the top 2, which is the Clemson quarterback, and there's another one. But there's a young man at BYU that my son and I have been looking at. His name is Zach Wilson, and I watched him the other night. But the team did not have a good game. They were 9-0. They ended up losing, so now they're 9-1. And he didn't look overly great to me, but they said it was not. They said that had to be the worst game they saw this guy play. I'm like, oh, well, of course, I turned the game on. So I'm going to start now. So the Bears maybe could get that guy because all the experts are saying that he's going to go 3rd. He shouldn't go any higher. He won't be the top 2 picks, so maybe he'll still be around for the Bears because then what the Bears need to do is draft. If they could draft a pretty good darn quarterback young, then let's go. But see, the capital. I don't know how much capital the Bears had. And if we could go get an experienced quarterback, like, I don't know, there's rumors that the Raiders want to get rid of Derek Carr. If you saw the game yesterday, I'll take Derek Carr. The last, 10 seconds, he throws a 45-yard bomb to win the game for them. I take him. Yeah. See, we could get somebody like that. Even Stafford. Let them play for a couple years. Mentor the new guy, and maybe we can get rocking and rolling and work on the offensive line in the offseason. I mean, but there's definitely some of these new guys they've been plugging in the last couple weeks. You see that it's starting to gel a little bit. So maybe we'll have some young guys that are going to be good, and then we could just fill in a few other spots. So that's it. I think I was all over the place today, wasn't I? But I don't have COVID. So listen, us Bears fans have to stick together. I had somebody told me that after she moved to Wisconsin, she decided it's just much funner to watch the Packers. Okay. I'm a Bears fan for life. Anybody can change teams, that's cool. Like people said, oh, you moved to Vegas, are you a Raiders fan? No. I'm a Bears fan. I can like other teams as like, yeah, they're okay. I'll watch them once in a while. No. I live, breathe Bears, and I always will. We all will. That's why you watch this show, and that's why we watch every Sunday. So 2021 is going to be a better year all the way around. So let's just hope it starts at Halas Hall in the off season. So because they're not going to get fired now, there's really no point. But I am sure when the fat lady sings on that last game, which I believe is Green Bay again in Soldier Field, is our last game, and that fat lady gets done singing her song that the game's over, they're getting their pink slips. All right. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching. You guys are really, really good subscribers, supporters, and I appreciate it. I really, really do. And as I always say, let's stick together. Love one another. Take care of somebody. If you see somebody in need, we're in this together, and it's almost over this frickin' year. So I love you, fans. Go Bears, even though they suck. And keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Oh, boy. Goodbye.